Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Rose Show. I want to preface this episode by saying that I'm not here to give anyone professional advice, but to speak about mental health issues. We all know suicide is a very serious public health issue that has long-lasting effects on not only the family, but the friends and the community. I'm sure people from all around the world can all attest to how the most recent celebrity suicide affected them. I followed Twitch on TikTok. I loved him. I loved watching him and his wife dance, his kids. I was shocked. I was saddened. And I was left asking the same question I'm sure everyone on the planet has been asking, and that's why there are usually signs. They start talking about self-harm or dying or suicide. They start seeking access to guns, pills, not any object that they could use in a suicide attempt. They start focusing on death and dying or violence, writing poems or letters or stories about death. You'll hear people talk about they feel that there's no hope for the future. They feel helpless, hopeless, and trapped. Self-loathing, self-hatred. They start talking about getting their affairs in order. They start saying their goodbyes, unusual or unexpected visits or calls to family, friends. They start withdrawing from others. They start showing self-destructive behavior, like increased alcohol or drug use, reckless driving. According to the CDC, suicide is a leading cause of death in the United States. How sad is that? How sad is it that a person would feel so lost that they would feel that their only way out was to take their own life? Look, if you or someone you know is experiencing mental health related distress, or you're worried about a loved one who you may feel need crisis support, please contact the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by either calling 988 or texting 988. You can also chat online with a counselor by going to 988lifeline.org. It's confidential, it's free, and it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. My guest tonight is Tyler Wyatt. I know that there are a lot of people out there, male, female, every walk of life, that struggle with mental health issues. Tonight, I want to speak to males. So don't go beat me up. I know everyone needs support, but tonight I want to speak to males and I want to find out. Men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide. So I want to get a male's perspective and thoughts on that. Anyway, welcome to the show. I really appreciate you coming on. I know that this is a sensitive subject for a lot of people, but especially men.
I'm happy to be back. I'm always here to support regardless, and it's something that I wouldn't do this for anybody else in the world.
This is really being vulnerable with the world.
We'll see what you get. Don't jump the shark.
He's never half-assed anything. I don't expect him to start now. Okay, so did you know that men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women?
No, I didn't know that. I don't want to say, I don't know. I guess it's kind of surprising because, I would think I don't know. I feel like it would be a toss up between men and like adolescent or young women.
Explain.
I just feel like it's a lot of pressure on women, especially nowadays in like the social media era where, you got all these Instagram models and, everybody's, it's like everybody seems perfect. Everybody's got, the BBLs and the fake breasts and, the injections all in their face. It's the Kardashian era, so to speak. It's just so much pressure to be perfect. Your curves aren't really, or the right curves aren't really embraced. Right. I say that in, quotations, but, I just feel like there's a lot of pressure on especially young girls, developing girls.
But see, I feel like that's a different kind of pressure. And
Oh yeah.
obviously, if I have a flat butt, I can go out and get a BBL. So it's not something that can't be easily remedied.
So 4 times more likely to commit suicide?
To commit suicide.
Does it list the factors or anything like that?
With men, a lot of it has to do with financials. They need to be the breadwinner. Financial pressure, substance abuse comes into play. I mean, you've got men out there that are gambling. I think there are a lot of things that men do and men entertain that women don't do and don't entertain. Does that make sense?
I mean, I guess so, but I don't know if I would say women don't entertain it. I mean, traditionally men have been, the providers, the protectors, the you know, just the one that goes out and gets it that makes it happen. I mean, back in the day, whatever you consider that, the woman was the homemaker and the man was the one who,
The breadwinner.
put the food on the table.
Right.
So,
And I
so
feel that men still feel that they should be the breadwinner. But I also think that now are not only do men have to compete with men, now men have to compete with women because women are out in the workforce. Do you know what I mean? Women in a lot of instances are the breadwinners.
I mean, yeah, that's the day and age we live in, man. That's what the suffrage movement was about, right? I mean, there's still a lot to overcome, but you're starting to realize a lot of that workforce. I mean, don't get me wrong, the glass ceiling is still real. Y'all still have to overcome more to get, you have to try harder to get where we can get with less effort, but it's happening more and more often. It's like y'all have a chip on your shoulder. You got something to prove. Like, yeah, I could do this too. I could do this better. But I don't look at it like I don't really feel like I'm in competition with anybody except myself, And
Right.
to touch on the financial aspect, I mean, I think, whatever you're going through in life, you sprinkle money problems on top of it and it amplifies it by 100.
I agree. I agree. Money, money
Whatever it is.
can money can take you from 100 down to a negative 10 in a
Yeah,
very quick period of time. I totally agree
yeah.
with that.
Negative 45 when you throw that overdraft on it.
No, I agree. So, do you feel there is a negative stigma associated with mental health and depression?
In general
Yes,
or
in general.
for
I mean,
men?
for men, but yeah, in general.
I think in general, I don't know. I mean, this is the era of like, where people are, so conscious of mental health.
Hmm.
Um, but I do feel like, especially for men, I mean, obviously I may be biased as a man, and I can only, really speak from a man's perspective. But yeah, I think there's a stigma with it, man. You're supposed to be, again, you're supposed to be the protector, man. And I think that, if you deal with depression or whatever the mental health issue is, yeah, I think to an extent you're viewed as, or you view yourself, or you feel that other people view you as being weak, as not being enough, or whatever the case may be. Weak is the word that comes to mind. Like you're
And
just not.
therefore less likely to reach out to someone for help.
um yeah, I mean, in some instances, because you don't want to feel like you don't want to feel like a burden. People always say, yeah, 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 reach out to me if you need anything, call me if you need me, or I'm always here to listen or whatever. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I feel like a lot of shit nowadays is for show, but I don't know. I don't know. So, sometimes some people, a lot of people are just like, man, why don't you just fix it? Just fix it. And it's like, shit, if it were only that easy, I mean, correcting something like that is a process, depending on how bad it is, or if, whether it's you being caught in your mind, or, you've got a real live like chemical imbalance. It's not just a switch you flip where it's like, all right, I'm better today. It's a roller coaster.
For me, the way I see it is if you contemplate suicide on any level, that is not something that's situational. That is a mental, and we
But
could
what
call it
is
a chemical imbalance. I mean, I don't know.
it's different for everybody though. There are people who battled. I mean, you talk about mental health and it gets generalized, but there are people who do have, like diagnosed disorders.
Right.
There are people who have undiagnosed disorders because they just refuse to go get help, and then you have people who just can't get out of their way. The people who just pity themselves and woe is me. So I feel like there are different. Again, mental health gets generalized into just one category, but you could really break it down into different things. You have personality disorders, you have bipolar, you have manic bipolar, um, you have all that stuff, man.
So you as a male, do you feel like you've ever struggled with it?
Um, yeah, I would say at times. I would say at times I've struggled with it.
But do you feel
And
it's
for me,
situational?
shit. I don't know. I mean, you have your highs and you have your lows, you know? And when you're at your lows, like, I don't know, I would be lying if I said I didn't ever contemplate it. Um, I don't know. The key for me was always like, I feel like that's where, spirituality came in to play. That's what sometimes I was thankful for the base that was kind of laid, even though I wouldn't consider myself like a Bible thumper or even a traditional Christian. Just believing in something, a higher power, somebody to hold you accountable to, when nobody else is around. Um, I would say that's helped me through a lot. Um, and then, I don't know, man, you just gotta, I don't know. For me, you gotta take into account the people around you because, from somebody who I have struggled with, like those thoughts. I also feel like, suicide is a very selfish route to take because, you don't end the pain, you just pass the baton in my eyes. So it's like for me, whether it be spirituality or my mother, you know what I'm saying? It's like I wouldn't, as bad as it's gotten, or whether it's my medicine or um, just circumstances, man, life, death,
Yeah, you've had a
circumstances.
lot thrown at you. I mean, you've seen quite a bit of death. I mean, I think
It's
considering
just,
the circumstances, you've handled it all rather well.
I mean, at the end of the day, I could never put you through that. You flash ahead to if you did pull that trigger. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You flash ahead, and it's like, my in my mind, it's like, would you ever be the same again? And I
No,
know you wouldn't be
it
the
would
same
change. It
again,
would
but like,
change my life. It doesn't just change the family's life. It's the family. It's the friends. It's anyone's life that you ever touched in a positive way.
yeah,
So
but
yeah,
do I care about them enough not to do it? The answer, 9.5 times out of 10 is no. I feel like you and I have uh, an unconventional or non-traditional relation, mother-son relationship.
right. We're
We
friends.
should,
We're really great friends.
yeah, you know what I mean? I'm your father. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, for real, like, I wouldn't want to, not saying I don't care about everybody else, but, you're one of the shit, maybe the only person in this world that I could say unequivocally I would kill or I would die for. No, there would be no second thought. And I could say that with no hesitation. You know what I mean? If somebody did something to you, I would have no problem spending the rest of my life in prison. And, if I would do that to somebody, then why would I do that why would I kill myself and just pass that pain to you for you to live with? You know what I mean? I couldn't do it.
And do you feel like you have a good support group? I mean, do you feel like you have people that you can reach out to when you're
Man,
feeling down? A lot of people don't have that support system, or maybe they're embarrassed to reach out. Or I'm going to tell you, when I initially reached out to Tyler and I said, "Hey Ty, I want to do an episode on mental health. Will you be my guest?" And the first thing he said was, "Why do you think I'm crazy?" And so and that is my exact point. That was a great example of, why conversations need to be had, because men think that if they reach out for help, that people will look at them as though they are crazy, or as though they're weak, or they're a mental case. I mean, I could keep going.
Yeah, and I think that's true. But again, for me personally, it boils down to like I am blessed and that I have you I could reach out to. And I think that there are, a plethora of people who do not have that support. Now, even if it's just that one person, it's not about the numbers, it's about the quality of the support. But you don't want to feel like a burden. You feel like, you gotta take it on the chin and you gotta fucking find a way. I draw strength from your background. You know what I mean? I remember, I say it all the time. I remember 97 Ronda. I
This kid's
remember
always trying to
97
tell my
Ronda, man. And
secrets.
in the moment back then, we didn't know what we were going through. You didn't know until you look back. But even prior to that, the stories, that you've told or that I've heard from other people, it's like, you went through, man, when you went through worse, you came from less. And look where you are. You're an inspiration to so many. So many people look up to you. You're really what people aspire to be. So it's like, yeah, the stigma is also, it also ties into why you don't follow through with it. It's like that's weak to me. I mean, like I said, I feel like I would be viewed that way if I shared, all the thoughts or whatever's crossed my mind.
In some ways, I
But it's
feel
also
like
at the
it's
same time, it's a double-edged sword because it's like I'm not doing that because I'm not weak, man.
well, and it's to me, and don't beat me up, people, but to a certain extent, I feel like it's selfish.
That's why I say you don't. I feel like it is selfish because you don't end the pain. And this is not to bash anybody that's lost somebody to suicide, or it's not to bash anybody
And
that's
I
no longer
second
with
that.
us because of that. It's just, yeah, not at all, man. But I just, from my point of view, it is selfish because it's like, man, I feel like I'm going through so much pain. I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm gonna amplify that pain by 10 and then pass it along to those nearest and dearest to me.
Right.
And I don't think I could do that. Like I
So,
said, you may not know it, but you've saved me a couple times before.
and so that's what I was. Have you ever reached out? I mean, for help? I mean, I know you've reached out to me, but have you ever reached
Yeah, I
out?
mean,
No, I mean, I know that you take medication that also attributes to the lows.
yeah, and it's I wonder sometimes, because it says on the label, like, yo, if you feel like, and the doctor said it when we were at Hopkins, like, man, if you ever feel like, hurting somebody or you feel like hurting yourself, just give us a call. And it's like, all right, appreciate you. If I'm ever in that point, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna holler at y'all, but I feel like, I had so many problems, from the neck up before I was on the medicine. I don't know if it's the medicine, if it's me, if it's a combination, probably a combination, but you just don't know. It's like, all right, is it really the medicine or is it, some of my self-destructive tendencies? Is it just me? You know
Right.
what I mean? So you don't know. And I'm not interested. I don't believe that, they say never. So I won't say that. But, remember Hopkins, they offered like, hey, here's a psychiatrist, we think you might benefit from going to see him. It's like, I'm not doing that. It's not something I feel like I need. It's not something, even if I did feel like I needed it, it's not something I plan on ever doing. I just, and that's not because of any stigma. I guess it's just, you know, that they're just a hard-headed male, I guess. I don't know. But it's not something I would ever be interested in doing.
So, do you think that some of the issue with men reaching out may lie in the fact that they think it looks poorly on when they open up about their feelings? I mean, I had someone
Yeah,
look at
man.
me the
I
other
feel like
day
that's
and
the
say,
stick.
men aren't supposed to cry. And I
Yeah,
that's crazy to me because I mean, men have emotions just like everyone else on the planet.
yeah,
So do
but
you think that that
traditionally,
attributes to the
but
higher suicide rate?
yeah, man, because you hold it in and you hold it in and you hold it in because you are, quote unquote, not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to, you're not supposed to be soft and all that shit. And then, one day it's just like you get caught in that moment, you just find that new low and you don't see where the roller coaster goes back up again. It's just all dark. It's just pitch black around you, so to speak, metaphorically. And in that moment, that's all it takes is that moment. And there's no coming back from that, man.
And so what helps you when you hit a low? What helps you come up out of that? I mean, is there any
Uh
advice that you could share?
I really don't know. I mean, it's not like it's not I don't have like a tried and true formula. Like I said, my spirituality, I don't, like I said, I don't pray in a traditional way, but I'll just, be by myself and just talk to God, man. I just talk to God. I just, I picture you. I picture Taylor. I picture Gavin. You know what I mean? Um, and it's just like I would never want to pass that off to y'all. I would never want to pass that off to y'all. And then I try to, not that I'm a fit freak or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I still got that wide belly jumping, but uh, like for me, it's push-ups, man. It's converting that bad energy into something that's going to make me feel better about what I see in the mirror. You know, you just
I
got to
think
you
that's
got to
great
find a way to
advice
convert it.
for anyone. That's great advice for anyone.
I mean, you see it all the time, like with people who are coming out of addiction or trying to overcome addiction. Like, they come out and they're heavy in the church, or they come out and they're heavy in the gym or something. You know what I mean? They find
They have
somewhere
something
to.
else to focus their energy on, right?
You gotta redirect your mind. You gotta redirect those thoughts, whatever it is for you. You gotta redirect those thoughts, that energy, into something that is going to contribute to what you see when you look in the mirror.
Yeah,
That's
and
how I
see,
feel.
I've said it a million times. I mean, I don't wake up in a great mood every single day, but I know that if I feed in to the bad moment, that bad moment is going to turn into a bad day. Where if I take that bad moment, like a great example, this morning I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking, fuck, I don't want to get up, man. I just want to lay here. I have a headache. I just don't feel like working today. And then my cane corso comes over and she puts her head on the bed next to me and she's sniffing me. And, I just go, okay, I'm going to get up and it's going to be a great day. So again, it's redirecting those thoughts.
And
I
it
struggle
sounds so
trying to,
simple.
I know, but it is. It's really that simple.
But I mean,
But it
prime
isn't.
example, like we're talking about this, but you got a guy who was a DJ, the who was it, Twitch, DJ Twitch or whatever his
Twitch,
name was.
Twitch,
You know,
always had a
a,
smile.
a guy from the outside looking in who seemed like he had it all, beautiful kids, wife. You would assume he had money, and just goes off the map for a day, checks into a hotel, and they find him with his brains blown out, man. It sounds so simple.
For some people, it is that. I could not imagine in a million years anything. I was talking to someone yesterday talking about financials, and he said, "You know what? My financials are getting so bad that I just don't want to be here." And in my mind, I'm thinking there is nothing on this planet outside of losing one of my children that would ever make me contemplate taking my own life, ever.
But we're in a society that's so money driven though nowadays. You know what I mean? Like you hear, and I'm not saying all of them, but when again, you go on the internet or you listen to interviews, and everybody, the women, they want a man who's already established. They're not trying to get with somebody who's trying to make it. They want a motherfucker who they can go out and have fun with, and you know, buy nice things with, see nice things with, and all that takes money. You know what I'm saying? So in general, we're in a society, just like on Instagram or Facebook, where these people judge how loved they are by the number of likes that they get or the number of comments they get. A lot of times in relationships, you're put in a box based off of what's in your checking account, you know? So that's why I said in the beginning, like money problems will, whatever you're going through, you add money problems to it, whether it's self-esteem issues, depression, whatever, you sprinkle money problems on that, and you're just trapped in the house. It's just you and your thoughts, and those thoughts are not pleasant thoughts. You just never know, man. And again, and I say this about you all the time, and it seems like I'm biased, but you don't see you the way so many other people see you, the way that I see you. And you are a much stronger willed person. You're in that top 5% or whatever of strong willed people that you can decide something, do it, whatever you decide. I mean, look what you're doing here. You just got off the radio. Look where you are in your company. You know what I mean? You don't see women that come from what you come from, that come from where you come from, turn out like you. I mean, you don't have a substance abuse problem.
Mm-mm.
You don't do drugs. You're not out here just fucking off. You do what Rhonda wants to do, and Rhonda's passion you're always looking for ways to self-improve. You're never satisfied. And I don't say that in a bad way. I don't want to say never satisfied. You're never complacent. You're never
Well,
complacent. You know what I mean?
everyone
Mentally,
can
physically.
always always needs an improvement of some kind. We're not perfect.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what separates you from the other 95% of the pack, because not everybody has that mindset. And even if they do have that mindset, they don't have the drive to match it. You know what I'm saying? Or they fucked up so much in their past. It's like, God damn, man, I'm at this point in my life. I'm never gonna get to where I want to be. I should have been there already. If I'm not there now, I'm never gonna get there. So what's the point of continuing to put forth this effort?
Because if you don't have a goal and you're not putting one foot in front of the other, what's it all for? That's the way I see it. What's it all for?
And I mean, I hear you. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just, playing devil's advocate, my usual role.
Thank you. Thank you for always pushing me to be a better person, even though you don't even realize you guys push me. You guys push me to be a better person.
I'm gonna push you to do something regardless. Hey, and everybody listening, I said it before. I'm gonna keep saying it. Don't call yourself a friend without liking, without sharing, without subscribing, all that. When you're out in public, talk about it. Word of mouth is still some of the best advertisement. Don't call yourself a friend if you are not supporting your friends. This is right, you know what I
like,
mean? Period.
follow, and subscribe. The Rose Show. Come on, guys. We need your
Like,
support.
follow, subscribe to Row
All of it.
Show, the Date Demic. Try to look up from the archives that 97.5 interview.
Yes.
Come on, man. Let's
And
build each
again,
other
if
up.
there is a topic that you want to hear about, or if you want to be on the show, reach out,
And
please.
stop, yeah,
Love that.
stop being scared, man. Come out here and be candid. That's another thing.
Yeah.
You're asking about, just the stigmas. Not enough people like you can go online and find all kinds of mental health discussions and shit like that. But who that is, I don't even know if that's the right word, tangible. Who is somebody that you could reach out and touch that's touching on these subjects and being real about it?
Right.
Who's letting putting their guard down, or letting you inside the wall, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Who
and
that you
that
know and
brings up
that
a
you
very
could
valid
touch.
point. If I can't even get anyone on the show to share their thoughts, how do you expect people that are struggling with depression and mental health issues to ask for help? Do you see what I mean?
That's
People are so worried about what everyone else is going to think.
Yeah, it's cool to, oh yeah, man, that was such a good guy.
It's
We
cool
miss
until
him.
it's not
He
cool.
shouldn't have done that. You should have called me. But it's like, where was the check-in when he was still here or when she was still here?
Right. Right.
Like, we don't have to go out and party. Like, man, let's go grab fucking scrambled eggs or something on Sunday morning. Like, let's just talk. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I grew up always hearing, oh, if they're talking about suicide, they're not going to commit suicide. Folks, if someone's talking about it, they're thinking about it.
And it's another thing. I mean, it's like, there's so many sides to this, but if somebody's talking about it and you're dismissive, it's like, all right, what happens when they hit that point? It's like, all right, y'all don't believe me, I'm gonna do it. All right, that could
Right.
be. I mean, that could be the push they need to jump.
Right.
There's
No,
so
I
much to
agree.
it, man, and it's there. I'm sure a lot of people struggle with the same thing, but there are so many independent variables when you talk about something like this because we've all been through similar circumstances. I mean, a lot of us have been through similar circumstances. We've survived similar things, but everybody processes everything different. Everybody internalizes things different. Everybody
Yes.
reacts to things different. You could have two people from the same area go through almost identical things and react totally different. Look at your childhood. Look how many people who went through the shit that you went through and turned to drugs or substances. And what did you do? You put that shit in your gas tank and used it for fuel to get to the top. People process things different.
I agree. I agree. So, look, folks, I said it in the beginning. I'm going to say it again. If you or someone you know is experiencing mental health related distress, please contact 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. You can call them, you can text them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Reach out for them. Have a conversation. Like Tyler said, take them out to breakfast, check in on your people, even the happy people. We need to be checked in on too.
And at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, if you are doing all that and somebody still, leaves here, under their own power, like, don't hold yourself responsible. You know what I mean? Like
Because
sometimes
you did your due diligence.
yeah, I truly believe that, some people it's just gonna happen, man. Like there's nothing that you can do to stop it. It's just like I said, there's something that's off up top. So, check on your people, man. You know what I mean? Keep it 100 with your people, like, big them up, support them, all that. And if something bad happens, man, just don't take it personal. Don't hold it against you. You know what I mean? Live in remembrance of them. Do everything, with their name at the end of it, so to speak.
I agree. Well, Tyler, thank you. I appreciate you always. I love you, kid.
I love you too, man. Whatever
I'll
you
take.
well, this won't be the last one.
No, I'm sure.
Like, follow, subscribe, share.
Thanks, everybody.